in 2022. The previous years, and particularly 2017, there were issues with transmission of results. There were issues of transmission of results in 2013 general election. Lessons learned from previous elections then helped us plan better in 2022. What we did in 2022 is we said we are not transmitting the text message of the results from the polling stations, because what happens when you transmit the text and then the results forms comes, there's always a problem between the text and the result forms. And then that creates room for misinformation and disinformation again. Then people say, the words used in Kenya is that you are cooking the results. So what we said, we shall only transmit the image, the form. The presiding officer at the polling station, we had 46,229 polling stations. So the presiding officer completes the form, that 4A, which is polling station specific, counts the results with the agents, completes the form with the results, signs it. The agents of the candidates also sign the form and are given copies of that form. And what the presiding officer then does is scan the form on the KIMS kits and transmits it to the National Tallying Center, the Constituency Tallying Center, and the public portal at the same time. The image is captured on an encrypted digital PDF format using the KIMS device. And then the PDF is what is sent to the public portal. And the security feature here then is each form that 4A has a QR code specific to that polling station. So you cannot transmit this form from any other device or from any other polling station. And that's what we did differently, a 15-digit QR code for each polling station, and gave the rights to the specific station to the presiding officer so that it can be biometrically identified before he scans and sends the image. So it was not easy to get another form from any other place other than that polling station. And each of these forms could then be traced to that polling station. And even the forms we generated at constituency level called that 4B, which are for the 290 constituencies, were also uploaded on the public portal. And the form that 4C, which is the summation of form that 4A's, all the 46,229 forms, giving the result of presidential candidate, was also uploaded on the public portal. So at the end of the day, this information was available for everybody to see. The commission has the results. It will keep them for the next 3 years. And anybody who wishes to interact with them is free. The paper is on the role of technology in improving the integrity of the electoral process, and particularly focusing on Kenya, where I served as the chairperson of the commission for a period of 6 years, which ended sometime this year. This paper is about the 2022 elections in Kenya, and in particular, focusing on the transmission of the tally results. It analyzes the system we used, how it was implemented, and how it helped increase election integrity, the importance of speed, transparency, and auditability in making the tally reports publicly available, and set a standard that can be applied to election practice in other countries in the region. Transparency in elections and all phases of the election is key to trust in the election outcomes. To achieve this, timely publication of election results is consequential. Delayed results give room for misinformation and disinformation. It's important to use transparent and efficient methods to make information public. I looked at a report by International IDEA. 56% of disinformation attacks target the voting period, and especially transmission of results period. This is a study International IDEA carried on over 100 elections. So election management bodies then must invest heavily in this phase of the electoral cycle. And ex-ante elections carried over the whole electoral cycle and you can prepare for 5 years. Everything can come to naught just because of results transmission. And this phase of results transmission is what I call in my paper, the last mile test. Now, the results transmission, as I said, is key. It is the last mile test. And IBC tally reports for presidential elections. The law says all presidential election results must be electronically transmitted and processed and transmitted these results in a quick and speedy manner. And the forms were scanned. We call it Form 34A, which contained correct and accurate data of results aligned to each polling station. The tally results were available to stakeholders and the public. And this, we worked very well with the telecommunication service providers. And in a few areas where there's no network, we had to bring in satellite modems, which then gave us 99.9% of the tally forms, which were uploaded within 24 hours of closure of polls. This matter of the elections ended up in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, after going through the evidence, had this to say, and I quote, "The technology deployed by the IBC for the conduct of the 2022 general elections met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency to guarantee accurate and verifiable results." So the Supreme Court was satisfied that the technology deployed was of very, very high standards. In conclusion, let me say that Kenya's 2022 general election set a new culture of peaceful and legitimate elections. The driver was the changes IEBC made in transmission of results. And the African Union and COMESA, among the many other observers during the election, said in their report, as a result of the changes made to the results transmission system, the provision of presidential election results were publicly accessible on the IBC portal. The mission welcomes introducing these transparency measures to improve the integrity of the electoral process. End of quote. I thank you, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you my experiences at the Commission during the 2022 general elections. Thank you.